Greetings and salutations, this is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. This is just a little catch up from Rick World. So I haven't made a video for about a week and I thought now was a really good time to get the camera out, do a little video log, because I'm going to try something I've never tried before in my life. If I tilt the camera down here, this is raw milk. And this is a coffee made with raw milk that I've just made. Now this milk was milked from the cow at about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and it arrived here this morning at 8 o'clock. It's now 10 o'clock. So this is about as fresh as it's possible to get. It has not been processed in any way. It's literally straight from the cow's udder. And I don't think I've ever had raw milk before. So I decided I was going to film my first taste of raw milk. Just to get the reaction. So let's give it a go. So I can tell straight away there's hardly any smell to it at all. There's very actually what I'm actually smelling is the coffee. Let's move that out of the way a minute. Yeah, so there's the faintest milk smell. Let's give it a go. Tastes like milk. Ordinarily, if I have milk, it's usually semi-skimmed. It's generally always ever been pasteurised. But this, like I say, the first time I've ever had milk straight from the cow's udder, literally from the previous day, and yeah, it's all right. I was half expecting the taste to sort of punch me in the face, but it's very subtle taste. It's just cold liquid, very creamy. It's got a very creamy feel to it, and it's just like cold liquid that's got a very slight hint of milk. It's interesting. I was expecting it to be, I don't know, somehow different, but it tastes just like regular milk, which is, I don't find particularly, massively flavoured anyway. But it has got a creaminess. It's got, I can feel like just a smoothness, a creaminess that like the skimmed milk that I normally have doesn't have. But anyway, there we go. Raw milk. Done a little bit of reading up on it. Apparently it's got lots of helpful bacteria in it that allows nutrient absorption to be much more efficient. So I thought I'd give some a try, just more out of curiosity than anything else. But yeah, that's perfectly agreeable. I quite enjoy that. I mean, I'm not a huge milk person anyway. If I buy a big bottle of milk, I'll get through about that much of it over sort of 4 or 5 days, and then I end up binning the rest. So in order to get this, I had to get this, it was through a next day delivery mail order thing from a farm, and there's like a minimum order, I think, of about 3 or 4 bottles, so I've had to freeze it all down. Apparently it does freeze. But yeah, good. So let's give it a try with the coffee. So this is just a standard caffeinated coffee with some of the milk in it, no sugar of course, and I'm assuming it's going to taste like coffee, but I'll give it a go anyway. It's coffee. Actually, it does give it a little bit of a smoothness, actually. Now, come to think of it, normally when I have a coffee in the morning, it's with a little dash of, I buy these little sachets of skimmed milk. It's the only way I can keep milk in the house, because it's, I go through it so slowly. I have to use these little UHT, like the little sachets you get in restaurants. I use just one of those, little 15ml sachet. But this, yeah, this is smoother. Nice. Oh, there we go. So raw milk. Am I going to make a habit of it? Not likely. It's very expensive to buy. I did this purely as a one-off, just more, like I say, out of curiosity than anything else. I'm glad I tried it, because I was curious. There's, especially what doing, because I'm in the carnivore space at the moment, and there is a lot of talk of raw milk, and people sort of talking about the benefits of it. Whether I do this on a regular basis or not, I'm not sure. Probably not. Actually, I think a lot of the price was the packaging, because it came with some pretty heavy duty packaging, as well as like ice packs and everything, just to keep it chilled through the post. But yeah, I'm glad I did that. Now, I know I said in my last video log that I was having trouble kind of getting started this year. I've sort of been stuck in this hibernation mode, and it's been a real struggle to get out. And what I tend to find when I'm in this mode is I'll get up and I'll spend the whole day thinking I ought to be doing this, I ought to be doing that. These things are building up. I need to get on and do this. And then by the end of the day, I've sort of flitted away the day, haven't really got into anything, haven't really done anything, and then I kind of get annoyed with myself because I've practically wasted the day. And it's been like that since the new year. So I thought, right, I need to take some positive action to deal with that. So what I've decided to do was this week, today is Thursday, but since Monday this week, I've decided to give myself this whole week off. And I mean off. I mean completely. I can do whatever I want and not feel obliged to do anything. So, I don't have to just sit here and think, I really ought to be doing this, I really ought to be doing that. That I can switch all of that off. If I want to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and spend the whole day on my VR or playing computer games, I'm permitting myself to do it. And oddly enough, I've only been doing this for like 4 days, and already I'm starting to feel quite productive. And there's a number of things that I've been meaning to do, and I just kind of felt obliged to get on and do them. So I think that's a great little technique that I've sort of discovered. When you're sort of in that, the only metaphor I can think of is when your tires are slipping in the mud and you're not actually going anywhere. Then just switch off, walk away, go do other stuff that you enjoy. Don't even think about what it is you've got to do. And then within a very short space of time, just a few days, you suddenly feel like you want to start doing things again. So that's really good. So basically, I was going to give myself till Monday, which is, I've got the weekend to get through, before I properly draw a line in the sand and say, right, now from Monday onwards, you must start getting on and doing these things. But I'm finding I'm starting to do them naturally anyway. So I think I've just invented a little technique there, which I can use in future lull times when I'm just not inspired to do anything. Now, one of the things that I think really helped was, for my week off, I got my keyboard down. Now, this is an old, beaten up, look how beaten up and tatty this thing is. This is a relic from the 90s. This is the Technics KN2000 keyboard. It was a bit of an icon in its day. It was very sought after. It was the keyboard to have. Back then, all those many years ago, all the time during my week off, that I felt myself pacing the room. Hello, hang on, back in a sec. So, where was I? In the moments between doing things on my week off, where I found myself pacing the room, not quite sure what to do next, I would find myself in front of this having a little play, and I would be just making up little tunes or whatever, and that would happen multiple times a day for anything between 5 and 20 minutes at a time. I was churning out some, quite fancy little tunes and things. And I think by focusing my mind with a musical instrument, I think that's really, really helped me to sort of, just become more organised in my mind and more able to do the things that I need to do without having to, think of them as a chore or sort of not having the motivation to get on and do them. Now, there are two types of relaxation. There is active relaxation and passive relaxation. Passive relaxation is where you just sit on the sofa, you veg out in front of the TV, and you let yourself be entertained, and you just kind of go into sort of vegged out stupor mode. Or with active relaxation, that's when you do something that's, pleasant and enjoyable to do, but it involves engaging your brain, and you actually have to think about what it is you're doing. So just sort of almost like not mindlessly, but just tapping away at the keys here, trying to get some nice sounds out of it. That, as far as I'm concerned, is active relaxation. And I think that engaging with active relaxation over the last few days has enabled me to just become more productive in my mind. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be a permanent fixture in this house, and the fact that I gravitate towards it without even thinking about it, like I say, as soon as I find myself pacing the room, how should I do this, or if I'm thinking as well, if I'm trying to think about something, I find I just gravitate over here and I just make some sounds out of it, just little not making sort of masterpieces or anything, but just tinkling on the ivories. It really starts to get my brain, my thinking in some sort of order, and it's just kind of making me a little bit more efficient. So I think because this is such an antiquated thing, and also to be honest, all the sounds on it, apart from the piano is quite a nice sound, but apart from everything else, it's quite the sounds are a little bit on the cheesy side. I'll be like proper cheesy. So because I generally only gravitate towards the piano, I'm actually possibly thinking about swapping it out for a full 88 keys machine. But anyway, I'll have a think about that. Now, apart from that, do have a day trip or two in the very near future planned. I have now joined the National Trust and English Heritage, so I'm still determined to force myself to go out more and to shake off this agoraphobia programming that I'm left with, despite fixing my other issues. I know a number of you have also asked me about can I make a video on the carnivore diet. I will do that at some point, although I have to say at the moment it's been a struggle to stay with. The carnivore diet is an extreme diet. I would not recommend it to anyone unless you have actual reasons to go on it. It's not a weight loss diet, really. I mean, you can lose weight on it, but it's not a weight loss diet. It's basically a healing diet. It's an extreme anti-inflammation diet. But it's not the sort of thing you should do casually, and it is really hard to stick to, and I keep falling off the wagon. I keep getting annoyed with myself. At the moment, whenever I fall off the wagon, I just get back on again, and that's been the story of my life this year. This line in the sand on Monday thing that I was talking about earlier, that is also the being more strict on the carnivore diet is another thing that I've built into that Monday. It's all a case of psyching myself up to actually properly stick to the foods that I have to eat. Because the foods I keep slipping back to are the damaging foods. They're the ones my body keeps rejecting and just sort of really kicking and screaming about every time I get involved with. So I really, really need to knuckle down. But like I say, being stuck at home in winter hibernation mode, it's especially hard to stick to. But once I start going out and about and enjoying the nicer weather, I'm hoping the carnivore thing will be a lot easier to stick to, because I need to stick to it if I want to be going out and about. So, it's like it's a necessity in order to do the things that I want to do. So as long as I can get that in my head and embrace that and run with that, I should be okay. But anyway, if you're interested, I will make a specific video on my thoughts on the carnivore diet at a later date, but please let me know in the notes below if you would like to see one. But apart from that is Rickworld at the moment. So just a few more days of my my week off, and then I'm going to hit the ground running on Monday. I've got so many things to be doing. I've got a load of bits and bobs left over from the van build, which I need to. I've got loads of stuff. I've got a list on eBay, and whenever whenever I talk about putting stuff on eBay, I feel my shoulders droop. It's quite a chore, and you've got to kind of babysit them because obviously as soon as somebody buys something, you've got to get it packaged up and sent off. Although, to be honest, when I do eBay stuff, what I tend to do is I'll photograph everything and then I will package everything up ready to be posted. So I haven't got to faff about. Literally all I got to do is slap a label, a postage label on it and post it. And I tend to do that, and then in a batch I will list up all of the eBay items. Although that can backfire if somebody asks an awkward question about an item I've got and then I've got to unpackage it to check it. But that, touch wood, that hasn't happened very often. Yeah, that's something I got to do. I've got the old wheels from the van, which are sort of stuck in my shed, and I don't know whether to get rid of them or not, because these massive wheels out here, they haven't gone through an MOT. I've got an MOT in, I don't know, about 6 months' time. And I'm thinking if for any reason they fail it on the wheels, they shouldn't do, but the tyres do rub when I'm going backwards at a certain angle. They just clip the mud flaps. So I have to be careful. I mean, it's not a problem. They don't touch at all when I'm going forwards. It's only when I'm going backwards. And I don't know whether they'd fail it on that or not. If they did, then at the moment I've still got those old wheels to fall back on. But obviously if I get rid of those on eBay, then I'm going to be a little bit scuppered. So I think I'm going to keep the old wheels until I've at least gone through one MOT. But apart from that, I've got to get rid of like the dual seat, some of the old electronic units, and all sorts of bits and bobs, you know, like the sink, the cooker, all sorts of stuff. And it's slowly building up. My whole house actually at the moment is starting to like breed stuff. And I've got so many things I need to like sort out. A couple of rooms now, they're absolutely chock-a-block with stuff. Most of it's junk, but I need to go through it, sort out what needs to be sold on eBay, what needs to be given away, what needs to go in the bin. And that's one of the things that's been building up, you know, the things I've got to get on and do. So anyway, so from Monday, I'm going to be doing that. I shall hit the ground running and just get on with it. And then hopefully we'll have a nice, empty, clean house by springtime. And then I can concentrate on getting out there and making lots of touristy videos. That should be good. That's the plan anyway. Whether it actually happens that way, we'll have to wait and see. But that's the intention. That's the plan. And as far as I'm aware, intention is everything. Right then. So that's it from me. So if you've got this far listening to my pointless ramblings, then thank you for hanging in there. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.